In this life, there is a truth that stands unshaken. You are not defined by where you were born, nor by what others say you can or cannot do. You are not the product of their opinions, their doubts, or their limitations. You are the product of your own belief. Belief is the seed from which destiny grows. Within every human heart lies a silent seed, so small and so invisible that the world often overlooks it. Yet, this seed holds the power to shape the direction of an entire life. It is belief. What you believe about yourself, about the world, about what is possible and impossible, becomes the soil in which your future takes root. If you carry within you the belief that you are powerless, then every action you take will grow from that soil of weakness, and the harvest will be struggle, fear, and limitation. But if within you exists the belief that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are destined for something greater, then that seed will grow into a tree of strength, resilience, and abundance. The truth is, belief is not just a thought that sits quietly in the mind. Belief is alive. It breathes. It feeds on your words, your actions, and your choices. It shapes how you walk into a room, how you face a challenge, how you respond when life pushes you to your knees. A person who believes in their strength will rise again and again, no matter how many times they are knocked down. But a person who believes they are weak will surrender at the first blow. Belief decides which version of you the world gets to meet. When a seed is planted, it needs water, sunlight, and care to grow. In the same way, belief requires nurturing. The voices around you will sometimes try to crush it, just as storms try to uproot a young tree. People will tell you that your dreams are too big, that you are not enough, that the world does not have space for what you carry inside. If you listen, if you allow their doubt to seep into your soil, your belief begins to wither. But if you guard it, if you feed it with courage, with discipline, with unshakable vision, then nothing can stop it from growing into something magnificent. Destiny is not written by chance. It is written by belief. A person who believes they are destined to fail will unconsciously choose the path that leads to failure. They will take smaller risks, make weaker decisions, and accept less than they deserve. On the other hand, a person who believes they are destined to rise will find the courage to walk into the unknown, to stand against the odds, to chase after dreams that seem impossible. The seed of belief determines the forest of destiny. Even the smallest seed, when planted in the right soil, can grow into something vast, something unshakable, something that changes landscapes. And belief works in the same way. A tiny spark of faith, a whisper that says, "I can evolve into unbreakable confidence, unshakable strength, unstoppable momentum. It does not happen overnight. Just as a tree does not grow in a day, belief does not instantly bear fruit. It takes time, patience, and persistence. But with every moment you choose to feed it, with every challenge you rise above, the seed grows stronger, deeper, taller. You must understand that nothing in this life begins outside of you. Everything begins within. The victories you dream of, the future you imagine, the greatness you long for, all of it begins with a single seed of belief. And when you hold that belief tightly, when you refuse to let it go, when you protect it against storms and doubts, it becomes the root of your destiny. Because belief is not just the beginning, it is the foundation, and from it, everything else grows. The mind creates boundaries, belief breaks them. From the moment we are born, the mind begins to draw invisible lines, shaping what we think we can do and what we think we cannot. These boundaries are built from experiences, from words spoken to us, from failures that left scars, and from fears that whisper in silence. The mind is powerful, but it is also cautious. It wants to protect us, to keep us safe, but in doing so it often locks us inside a cage of limitation. It convinces us that certain dreams are too big, that certain paths are too dangerous, that certain goals are beyond our reach. These invisible fences are not real, but they feel real, because the mind has painted them with conviction, Belief is the force that shatters those boundaries. Where the mind says, you cannot, belief says, watch me. Where the mind builds walls, belief builds wings. It is belief that pushes a person to step beyond what feels safe and familiar, to test the edges of possibility, to walk on roads no one else dared to walk. Without belief, the mind will keep repeating the same patterns, circling the same fears, returning to the same comfort zones. With belief, those patterns are broken, and the circle becomes a straight path leading forward. Think about the difference between someone who listens only to the limits of their mind and someone who listens to the voice of belief within them. The first person sees obstacles and stops. They say, it's too hard, I can't do it, this is where I must end. The second person sees the same obstacles, but believes there is a way through, over, or around them. That belief creates energy, it sparks creativity, it awakens courage. While the first person stands still behind the boundary, the second person is already moving forward, creating new ground, expanding what is possible. The boundaries of the mind are often shaped by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of pain. These fears make the walls feel unbreakable, but belief has a different voice. Belief does not deny fear, it does not pretend challenges do not exist, but it refuses to bow to them. Belief says, even if I fall, I will rise again. Even if they doubt me, I will prove myself. Even if the road is long, I will keep walking. In this way, belief becomes the hammer that strikes the walls of the mind until they crumble. History, progress, and transformation are all born from people who dared to break the boundaries of the mind. Every invention, every discovery, every great achievement was once considered impossible, but someone, somewhere, believed otherwise. That belief allowed them to see beyond the boundary, to imagine a reality others could not, and to work toward it until it became true. What was once a limit became a stepping stone, and what was once impossible became ordinary. This is the power of belief. It takes the word, impossible, and rewrites it as, I'm possible. Your mind will always try to keep you within what it knows, because the unknown feels dangerous. But belief thrives in the unknown. Belief is the force that gives you courage to step outside the circle, to test the edges, to prove to yourself that the walls were never as strong as they seemed. And every time you step beyond one boundary, the horizon expands, and you realize there is more in you, more waiting for you, more possible than you ever imagined. Belief continues to break the chains, to tear down the fences, to open doors where only walls once stood, because where the mind creates boundaries, belief always has the power to break them. What you see in yourself is what the world reflects back to you. The image you carry inside, the way you define your worth, the way you measure your strength, it becomes the silent language you speak to the world. People do not only hear your words, they sense your energy, they read your posture, they feel your confidence or your doubt. When you look at yourself and see weakness, that weakness seeps into how you walk, how you speak, how you respond, and the world mirrors it back to you by treating you as fragile, as uncertain, as less than you truly are. But when you see yourself as capable, worthy, and powerful, the world adjusts itself to that reflection. It is not magic, it is alignment, because what is within is always echoed without. Every person carries an invisible mirror, and that mirror is belief. If inside you believe you are not good enough, that belief leaks into your choices. You settle for less, you accept what is beneath your potential, you walk away from opportunities that are yours to claim. Others look at you and reflect back the same story. You tell yourself that you are not enough. But if your inner mirror reflects self-respect, strength, and determination, then the world responds to that as well. People treat you with the level of respect you demand from yourself. They sense the standard you hold and rise to meet it. It is easy to think that the world defines who you are, but it is always the opposite. You define yourself first, and the world follows that definition. Imagine someone who walks into a room believing they have nothing to offer. Their shoulders drop, their voice trembles, their presence fades into the background. The world sees that and reflects it by overlooking them, by doubting them, by forgetting them. Now imagine someone who walks into the same room, believing they carry light, believing they have value, believing they belong. Their presence is felt without a word. People notice, people listen, people respond. The difference is not the world, it is the reflection of the self. What you see in yourself also shapes the way you handle challenges. If you see yourself as weak, every problem feels like a mountain too high to climb. You hesitate, you fear, you surrender too soon. But if you see yourself as strong, you face the same mountain with courage. You may stumble, but you keep going. And the world reflects that determination by opening paths, by offering support, by giving way to the one who refuses to give up. In this sense, the reflection is not just about how others treat you, but also about how circumstances bend to your belief. The truth is, life is a mirror. It does not simply show you reality, it shows you your belief about reality. If you constantly focus on what is missing, the mirror will always reflect lack. If you focus on what you carry within, the mirror will reflect abundance. If you believe you are invisible, life will pass by without noticing you. If you believe you are worthy, life will return that belief in opportunities, respect, and recognition. You cannot control every detail of how the world behaves, but you can control the vision you hold of yourself. And that vision is powerful enough to reshape how others see you. People are drawn to confidence. They are influenced by certainty. They are inspired by someone who carries belief like armor. When you look in the mirror and see strength, courage, and worth, the world will reflect the same. And slowly, you will realize that the way life treats you is nothing more than a reflection of what you chose to see in yourself first. Doubt chains you, belief sets you free. Doubt is the quiet whisper that questions your every step, the invisible rope that ties your hands when you are ready to reach, the weight that keeps your feet heavy when you are meant to soar. It is subtle but powerful, shaping how you move through life without you even noticing. Doubt says you are not ready, you are not strong enough, you do not have what it takes. It plants hesitation in your mind, and hesitation becomes delay, and delay becomes regret. Doubt is the silent thief that steals dreams long before they have the chance to live. When doubt is present, opportunities are lost, not because they were unreachable, but because the mind was chained. A person filled with doubt might have the skill, the knowledge, the potential, yet still hold back, still shrink, still hide, because doubt convinces them that failure is certain. It builds a prison of what ifs, locking the soul inside a cage of fear. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I am not enough? Those questions become chains, and those chains are strong enough to keep even the most gifted person from moving forward. Belief, however, is the key that breaks those chains. Belief does not erase the challenges, it does not guarantee perfection, but it gives freedom. When you believe, the fear of failure transforms into fuel. The question changes from, what if I fail, to, what if I fly? Belief sets you free to try, to risk, to step into the unknown without waiting for perfect conditions. It opens the door to possibilities that doubt keeps locked away. With belief, your energy shifts, your choices expand, and your actions carry the weight of courage rather than the burden of fear. Doubt creates hesitation in the mind, but belief creates motion in the body. Someone consumed by doubt will wait for the right time, the right resources, the right approval. But someone moved by belief acts with what they have, starts with where they are, trusts that every step forward will reveal the next. Belief frees you from the prison of waiting and pushes you into the freedom of doing. And in doing, you grow, you learn, you create the very opportunities doubt insisted were impossible. The chains of doubt are strengthened by voices around you, people who project their fears, their limitations, their disbelief onto your journey. If you accept those voices, you carry their chains as well. But belief sets you free from needing validation. It allows you to move forward even when no one claps, even when no one sees, even when no one believes but you. This freedom is priceless because it is the freedom to live by your own vision rather than being trapped by the fears of others. Doubt keeps the mind focused on barriers, on all the reasons why something cannot be done. Belief shifts the mind to possibilities, to solutions, to strength. A person trapped in doubt sees a locked door and turns away. A person guided by belief sees the same locked door and begins to search for a key, a window, another way through. That shift in perspective is the difference between stagnation and growth, between living chained and living free. Every person has both doubt and belief within them. The chains are always present, but so is the key. The difference lies in which voice you choose to strengthen. Feed your doubt, and the chains grow tighter. Feed your belief, and the chains fall away. When belief takes root, it creates a freedom that cannot be shaken, a freedom that allows you to rise, to push, to step beyond the limits that once held you captive. Doubt may whisper, but belief roars, and in that roar lies the power to set you free. Every victory begins with an unshakable belief. Before a battle is fought, before a dream is built, before a goal is achieved, there is a seed planted deep within the human spirit. That seed is belief. Without it, even the strongest plans crumble, the best strategies collapse, and the most talented individuals fall short. Belief is the foundation upon which every success stands, the invisible strength that holds everything together when the weight of struggle tries to break it apart. It is not the circumstances around you that decide the outcome. It is the belief within you that fuels the fight until victory is claimed. When a person believes deeply in their vision, they unlock a force that goes beyond skill or resources. Skills can be learned, resources can be gathered, but belief is something that cannot be borrowed or handed to you. It comes from within, from a decision to stand firm no matter the storms that rise. That decision creates energy, it builds resilience. It pushes the body beyond its limits and lifts the mind above its fears. Every great victory has been born out of moments where belief was stronger than doubt, stronger than fear, stronger than every obstacle standing in the way. Challenges will always appear. The path to victory is never smooth, never easy, never without trials. Doubt will creep in, failures will sting, setbacks will test your patience. But those who win are not the ones who avoid these hardships. They are the ones whose belief refuses to be shaken by them. They fall, but they rise again. They face resistance, but they keep moving. They encounter closed doors, but they find another way through. Belief is what gives them the strength to continue when logic says to quit. Victory is not just about reaching a goal. It is about transforming into the person who can carry it. Belief shapes the transformation. It builds courage when fear whispers in the dark. It builds persistence when fatigue begs for rest. It builds vision when the future looks uncertain. With belief, you do not wait for proof to appear before you take action. You create proof by acting. You step forward in faith, and every step forward creates momentum. Every step forward brings you closer. Every step forward builds the story of victory. History remembers those who carried unshakable belief in moments when the world said it could not be done. They were not superhuman. They were not immune to fear, but they refused to let fear win. Their victories became examples because they remind us that belief is not optional. It is essential. Without it, even talent goes wasted. Without it, even opportunity goes unused. Without it, even dreams fade into silence. But with it, the impossible bends, the unlikely becomes possible, and the unseen begins to take shape before the eyes of the world. Every victory begins not with applause, not with recognition, not with support from others, but with a single voice within that says, I can. That voice, when guarded and strengthened, becomes the fire that drives every action, the anchor that holds steady in the storm, the compass that points forward when the path disappears. Belief does not make the journey shorter, but it makes it possible. It does not remove the weight, but it gives the strength to carry it. And in the end, the victories you hold in your hands are simply the reflection of the unshakable belief you held in your heart when nothing else was certain. You are living proof of the story you choose to believe. Every thought you accept, every identity you claim, every narrative you tell yourself becomes the script of your life. If you carry the story that you are not enough, your actions will follow that script. You will walk smaller, dream smaller, live smaller, because the story you believe shapes the choices you make. If you tell yourself you are broken, you will begin to see cracks in every reflection. If you tell yourself you are destined to fail, every setback will look like confirmation. The story you believe becomes the lens through which you see the world, and eventually, it becomes the life you live. But when you choose a different story, everything begins to shift. Imagine telling yourself a story of strength, of worth, of resilience. Suddenly, the same struggles that once felt like chains begin to look like stepping stones. The same failures that once seemed final become lessons, shaping your growth. The same obstacles that once stopped you become challenges that sharpen you. It is not the circumstance that changes first. It is the story you choose to believe about who you are in the middle of it. That choice creates the reality you live in, and with time, the world reflects back the story you tell yourself. Stories are powerful because they create identity. When you believe the story that you are a victim, you live trapped, always waiting for someone else to save you. But when you believe the story that you are a fighter, you rise even when no one comes. When you believe the story that you are unworthy, you accept scraps and call them blessings. But when you believe the story that you are valuable, you stop settling for less than what you deserve. The story you choose is not just words in your head. It is the foundation of your actions, the energy of your presence, the definition of your future. Every day, you are surrounded by voices trying to write your story for you. Some will tell you that you are not capable. Some will tell you that you are not beautiful. Some will tell you that you will never rise. If you accept their words, their story becomes your story, and you end up living a life that was never truly yours. But when you decide to take the pen back into your own hands, when you decide that no one else will define the ending for you, you begin to live as the author of your destiny. The story you believe becomes your shield against their doubt, your fire against their coldness, your map through their confusion. Living proof is not about perfection, it is about authenticity. It means that the life you live is the evidence of the belief you hold. If you believe in kindness, your actions prove it. If you believe in strength, your perseverance proves it. If you believe in greatness, your persistence proves it. You do not have to announce it to the world. You do not have to argue it with anyone, because your life itself becomes the testimony. Your story is not heard through your words alone. It is seen in the way you rise after falling, in the way you keep going after losing, in the way you shine even when the world tries to dim your light. The story you choose to believe is always shaping you, whether you are aware of it or not. And when you look at your life, you can see the reflection of that story in your relationships, in your choices, in your achievements, and in your failures. You are living proof every day of the narrative you allow to guide you. And the most powerful truth is this: you can choose at any moment to rewrite it, to decide that your past is not your prison, that your scars are not your chains, that your limits are not your destiny. You are living proof of the story you choose, and that choice belongs only to you. The journey of belief is the journey of becoming. From the seed that shapes your destiny, to the breaking of boundaries, to the reflection you see within yourself, belief is the thread that runs through it all. Doubt may whisper, fear may rise, circumstances may test you, but belief is the force that carries you through. Every victory you hold begins first in the mind. Every story you live is born from the narrative you choose to accept. Life will always mirror back what you believe most deeply about yourself, and in that reflection lies the proof of your power. When you guard your belief, when you feed it, when you let it guide your steps, you do not just dream of a better life, you build it. Because in the end, you do not become what the world says, you do not become what fear insists, you become what you believe.